The fall of the Berlin Wall stands as a momentous event in world history, symbolizing not only the reunification of East and West Berlin, but also the broader collapse of communist regimes across Eastern Europe. This documentary narrative delves into the circumstances and experiences surrounding November 9, 1989, an evening that resonated with cathartic energy as the divided city of Berlin found itself suddenly united. For nearly 3 decades, the Berlin Wall had been a concrete manifestation of the Iron Curtain, separating family and friends, restricting freedom, and creating an atmosphere of fear and oppression. Commissioned by the East German government in 1961, the wall was meant to prevent citizens from escaping to the West. It was part of a larger strategy to fortify the Eastern Bloc against Western influence during the Cold War. Throughout its tenure, the wall stood as a chilling barrier, fortified with guard towers and a death strip, a reminder of the peril that lay in the aspiration for freedom. As the 1980s advanced, a wave of reform and political change swept across Eastern Europe, inspired by Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev's policies of perestroika and glasnost. These reforms inadvertently ignited a spark of dissent and a surge of democratic movements within the communist regimes. In East Germany, public unrest began to grow. Citizens, emboldened by reformist tides from neighboring countries, began to organize protests. The most notable was the Leipzig peaceful demonstrations, which saw thousands of East Germans rallying weekly to demand greater personal freedoms and the right to travel. In the lead-up to that fateful November night, a series of political missteps and rising pressure forced the East German government into an unanticipated predicament. The rules regarding travel abroad were going to be relaxed, albeit under restrictive measures. During a live press conference, East German official Günter Schabowski, uncertain and unbriefed on the details, mistakenly announced that the new travel regulations allowing East Germans to cross the border would come into effect immediately. The news traveled fast. Within hours, Berliners on both sides of the divide converged at the wall. Surging masses of East Berliners arrived at checkpoints, demanding passage to the West. Overwhelmed and lacking orders to use force, the border guards stood down. By 11 p.m., the narrow pathways to freedom had been graciously opened, marking the start of a seemingly impossible reality. The Berlin Wall was crumbling. The atmosphere that night was electric with jubilation, disbelief, and a shared spirit of hope. Berliners took tools to the loathsome structure, chipping away at the concrete, collecting pieces as souvenirs, a tangible testament to the triumph over adversity and division. East and West Berliners embraced, celebrated, and sang in spaces that hours before had been symbols of confinement and fear. The fall of the Berlin Wall did not merely signify a city's reunification, it heralded the end of an era. Following the wall's collapse, Germany moved rapidly toward reunification, achieved on October 3, 1990. Globally, the event reinvigorated the move towards democratic governance in Eastern Europe and underscored the waning grasp of Soviet influence. The impact of this extraordinary event is felt to this day, serving as a powerful reminder of the yearning for freedom and unity that resides within humanity. The fall of the Berlin Wall encapsulates a historical narrative of victory, one where courage and persistence overcame the fortified barriers of tyranny.